At a certain point, maturing is realizing that nobody in this world has plot armor, whether that comes to them living out their life or whether it comes to you having a friendship with them or having a relationship with them. Nobody has plot armor 100%. The thing about it is that we are given the illusion that the people around us and that people that we love are going to be around and with us for a long time. But what we really have to realize is that we're not meant to be with these people forever. Our time is limited, and so it's important to use that time effectively. Season 5, Episode 19, Take 1. What is good, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome back to the One Take series, where we get one chance to reflect on the day, no second chances, no third chances, one take and one take only. Obviously, I'm not gonna keep bringing it up. Okay, we all know. I already talked about it a couple episodes. I'm not gonna try and go on about it because I don't want to appear as if I'm milking it. I really don't want to. What ended up happening, the reason why I'm saying plot armor is because a bunch of people are still mentioning it a few days later. Naturally, it is a big thing, but I keep having to cut people out of my life. I've had to cut people out of my life that were with me since elementary school because they're talking about this. And I mean, it's not a thing where it's just that one event, right? It's the straw that broke the camel's back. It's them posting a bunch of political stuff that I don't agree with, and then when this happens, they're doing mental gymnastics trying to dodge the fact that what happened was wrong. I mean, again, I swear I'm not trying to make a bigger deal out of this than it's already happened, but the reality is that just people that are bad for you and people that are draining for you are people that you have to cut out, and that's just something I'm realizing as we go further along, and especially as I go further along in my journey with Christ. I can't be seen with people that keep bringing in an ideology that goes against Christ. I just can't, regardless of how much I like that person, regardless of what history I have with that person. The truth is, nobody has plot armor. Nobody has plot armor except for Jesus Christ. That's the only person. And then once we get to heaven, and then once he decides who goes and who goes down there, that's when we know it's finalized and who has plot armor. So I'm just really taking that into account, and I'm really trying to come to terms with the fact that I am cutting out anybody I need to out of my life, and that I am surrounding myself with the most uplifting people I possibly can. That is important, and I recommend that you take that with you into your life as well and in the following days. Kind of going down the list, I only read one chapter in the morning so far. Even though it is late at night, I plan on keeping my word, keeping my promise. Like I said, 2 chapters a day, okay? Gym, no. Internship, no. Work, no, okay? We have something to make up in that department, and normally I would skip this weekend at this point and just say, okay, let's just try and make this up at a later date. Which, by the way, if this number goes past 20, I'm deleting this number as well, because the thing is that the debt counter for Jesus didn't work, and I'm doing a similar thing with work and it didn't work, right? So I should have that's on me. I should have recognized the pattern and said that this shouldn't have been a thing, right? But the thing is that I am going to try and work this weekend so that I can get to finishing Big Brother. I want to finish Big Brother this weekend because if we don't, then we are off track and we were behind schedule in terms of finishing Big Brother on time. Let me see. Then for music, no, I haven't done anything. And then that's all of the no's. Okay, so getting to the positive stuff, I got a good amount of sleep last night. One take, boost in viewership, but like I said, it's because I talked about the Charlie Kirk situation the first time. And I know it's also because I titled the next one after that Shift. So I mean, normally I would try and that's the thing with social media, is when you are riding off a wave of momentum, then you have to try and keep going along with the momentum. But I really feel like it's the thing, right now, and not right now, it's just in general, I don't feel comfortable riding off the momentum of somebody's death. I really don't. The only reason I keep bringing it up is because it really does play a relevant role in how I'm acting these last couple of days. That's the only reason. But other than that, I don't want to keep using someone's death just for clout. I don't want to make it seem like I'm coming off that way. Because not only is it wrong or does it look wrong, but it just feels wrong as well. I mean, so I swear I'm really not trying to bring it up. But needless to say, there is a boost in viewership. There is a noticeable one. So I think with intros, in terms of like one take, I am going to try and maybe talk a little bit before I go season 5 episode blank take 1, because I think that is a big thing of keeping people around. And it gives something more people to hook them in. You know, it gives people something to look at and listen to and be like, okay, wait a minute, I want to kind of hear what this guy is saying, versus hearing season 5 episode blank take 1 and then the whole intro, right? The thing about that is that they hear that and then all they hear is that, oh, I jumped in like way late in the series, and they just feel discouraged and they click off the video, which isn't really the goal. If I want to teach people lessons and I want to transfer lessons over to their life, I have to start with something in the opening to get them hooked, right? So I think that is something I'm realizing, is use the intro to your advantage, so that way I can get people roped in, right? And so that way, by giving them one lesson at the start, then they sit through the rest of the video, or they can find out they skip to the end of the video where I cover a bunch of different lessons that they can apply. So I think that's a good thing that I can go do going forward. Just a good practice. I'll use some like nonsense off the top of my head at the start of each episode before I actually cut to the season 5 episode blank take 1 intro part, right? Let's see. So the rest of it, academics is going well. I got everything I needed to get done by today, but that doesn't mean that I still have to, or that doesn't mean that I have everything for next week done. So obviously I am going to be working quite a bit on academics this weekend. But like I said, the main priorities, for sure. I mean, this we got to get this done. We got to get this done. Portfolio needs to get done this weekend, and that's a non-negotiable, regardless of what is occurring, regardless of what we have in mind for the rest of the weekend. Internship portfolio needs to get done, because we need to start sending out those what is it? We need to start applying for internships. We just do. I know a lot of people get their offers for internships by December, and so I need to make sure that I'm submitting it well before then, right? I was already supposed to get it done about 2 to 3 weeks ago. It is time. It is long overdue for me to get that portfolio done. So that is like the main thing we are working on this weekend. Other than, of course, work. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make up the 14 hours, because at this point, it's a thing where, because here's the thing. I plan on doing definitely some work. I plan on, at the bare minimum, I have 10 episodes of Big Brother left. So let's erase season 4, the finished season 4 message, and then let's get something more applicable on here, right? We have 10 episodes left, right? 10 episodes. Each episode lasts about maybe 45 minutes, right? 45 minutes. So then 10 and 45 minutes is, of course, 3/4 of an hour. So 10 times 0.75, I'm doing this completely off the dome. So that's 50, and then plus, right, placeholder, 70, okay, 7.5, okay, right? Wow, I definitely did not need to do math for that. That is embarrassing. But basically, the idea is that without pausing, and this is the thing, without pausing, because sometimes I just pause and rewind because I am locked in on work, and then I hear something crazy and I'm like, what the heck did they just say? And I have to pause and rewind it. So without pausing, that's already 7.5 hours, right? So the idea is that if we're motivated enough to finish the Big Brother season this weekend, then we should at least be able to make up 8 hours, right? Which would already leave 6. That's assuming 0 pausing. If there is pausing, I am assuming it's probably going to be around 10 hours, which means that strategically, if we're able to play our cards right, then this number will go down to 4, and that will be much more manageable. And from there, I can just distribute it across the week, so that way I work 2 hours in the morning, and then afterwards 2 hours in the afternoon. For 2 of the days, we are officially caught up, right? So that is honestly my plan there, okay? In terms of the actual days split themselves of how I want to manage it, I really have 2 options for that as well. I could just go raw dog. I said I wasn't going to do this, and I really regret not working at all today. But, I was busy, so I'm not going to blame myself, okay? So strategy 1 is we go 7 hours one day and 7 hours another. That is just unrealistic. We are working full hour days when I want to get stuff like the internship portfolio and also get good with academics when I have a midterm this upcoming week, and a bunch of other things that are occurring. I really don't have time for that. So I think a more manageable method would be there. So that's option one. Okay, option two is, like I said, we do something extreme like this. Okay, where tomorrow we wake up, we eat, we wake up, we read the Bible, we brush our teeth, eat, and then afterwards we just keep going and we don't stop working until Big Brother season 10 is finished, right? So like I said, that would probably be around 10 hours, and then from there the next day I would be able to do 2 hours here, 2 hours at night, right? And then that way we would be completely caught up and the work makeup would just look empty, right? I would be completely free of that. Okay, that's option two. Okay, or option three is that I do something like I work 4 hours and then I do something like I work 4 hours across the week. However, again, unrealistic. So I think what it's really looking like, I think this is going to be the best course of action. I think we use Saturday primarily for work and finishing Big Brother season 4, so that way we could start Big Brother season 5, and then that way we just have Sunday, 2 hours morning, 2 hours night. And even if I don't do it on Sunday, then what I can do is I can just distribute that across the next week. So I honestly think that is going to be the best option, and so I'll leave that up and we will keep going about our day. So I guess the only thing left to talk about is research. For those of you who have been following through the series, you know that today I was able to get a tour of the research lab that I was primarily interested in. And all I can say is, wow, bro. Wow, that thing is sick. It was definitely a highlight, and it was one of the best things of my college career, just being able to see that. Such a privilege. And just the things that were going down in that lab is just fascinating to me. And so they said that I can come in with because originally the professor was going to be the one giving me the tour, but then what ended up happening is that he had to go to some event, so he had the assistant give me a tour, right? And so I'm going to be able to meet up with the professor across this next week, and as a result, just kind of like ask him some questions and stuff. So I'm really feeling confident about where I am with that specific division of research. Even if I'm not doing any of the crazy, like, involved research, I am still going to be able to get my hands on some stuff of just like practicing how to use equipment, and I'm really looking forward to that. So it was amazing. And then also what added to this really, really great day, because this is one of the best days that I've had in college. In terms of like when I was actually on campus doing stuff, one of the best days that I've had, especially because for my 1 p.m., right, you guys know we had a quiz to study for. I studied for pretty much like the entire morning. And so we ended up getting there, right? And so let's take it back, because I need to take it back to episode 3 real quick, okay? Back in episode number 3, I was talking about how a quiz occurred, and I was completely shocked. And like I said, blindsided. I love using that word. I was completely shocked when I stood up and everyone started pulling out a piece of paper to take a quiz, right? And I didn't do well in that quiz, right? And so this was a homework quiz, right? So I was naturally feeling more confident about it anyways, okay? But today, what was awesome is that he put out the homework quiz, right? And I kid you not, 3 minutes out of the 10 minutes go by. I am the first one to stand up and turn in my paper. I even get up, I ask him a question, I'm like, do we just pop points on this? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm the first one to turn in my paper, get out of that room. If I lost any aura here, I definitely regained it today. I felt like such a freaking, it's just like one of those things of like, look how fast things change. Like 1 week, I'm going, or basically, yeah, like at this very start, week 1, I'm like just not paying attention. I'm caught completely off guard by a quiz, and then 2 weeks later, I adapt. Because that's how the greats do it. You know what they do? When something doesn't go right for them, they adapt. They find a way to change what is going on around them. They don't change what's going on around them, but they change themselves to figure out what's going on around them. And it works, right? That's what they do, and that's why it works for them. It's because they're able to see and intake information, and they're able to process it for what they're using, okay? That is key, and that definitely played a big role in today. Let me see. Other things. I don't really know if there are any other things. Once again, I think I gotta delete social media again because, like I said, I'm using Instagram for communication. But I gotta delete Instagram for sure, and I gotta make sure that I'm only using YouTube specifically when I'm watching Big Brother. That is the only exception. I would consider getting like, no. I wouldn't consider getting another subscription. I mean, YouTube is free. I'm not paying like a $60 subscription on Paramount Plus when I can just access things on YouTube for free. So, let me see. What else do I want to talk about today before I end the video? Let me see. Honestly, I mean, not really much, low key. I'd say in terms of like this stuff down here, this is still very applicable and very true, but just in general as well, just confidence. I feel like people are looking at me in a different light. I don't think they're. I can't explain why, but well, actually, I can explain why. I can absolutely explain why. I just wrote on the whiteboard for those of you that are listening. On your Apple Watches, you guys know who you are. Let me see. That person will know exactly who they are. So basically, I know why. I know why I'm feeling more confidence with women, and it's because of that streak, right? And it feels, like I said, it feels great. It feels fantastic. There was this one girl, I mean, I'm so delusional. I'm actually so delusional, and I'm definitely a hopeless romantic, right? And this is one thing I need to work on. I need to lock in and stop focusing on women, bro. In fact, you know what? I'm going to just take this out. Because we already know, at this point, we've proven our point that by doing the main things, we are able to get to the miscellaneous things. So I really need to just change my mindset, and I need to stop focusing on women, bro. I need to stop focusing on that. I need to stop focusing on the fact that they are women, and I need to start focusing on the fact that I can communicate with people, because that is exactly what I'm doing. People are seeing that I'm speaking in a more confident tone. They're seeing just different attributes of me that they didn't see before, and they're really starting to like it. That's really, yeah, the specific example that I was going to bring up was basically there was this one girl who, like, okay, like, I kind of knew she was, like, kind of, like, on, like, she was on the prettier side or whatever, or not on the prettier side. She definitely was beautiful. On top of that, she was also sporty, and she was in my type of engineering, which I know my type of engineering is tough, so it was really cool. But I swear, bro, I was going up the stairs of the building, we made eye contact, and then all of a sudden she literally turned around and started following me. I know that had to be something. And even if it wasn't, it felt good. So, I'm not complaining about it. But I swear, one of these days we will stop focusing so much on women, because I feel like that is just a thing of, like, I'm concerned about what more of them think of me, and I don't think that's a healthy mindset, right? I do plan on finding somebody one day, but like I said, now is not the time, right? Now is the time to lock in on all the other stuff that we want to get done, and we already know, and we've already proven that stuff will come when I am ready to act on it, okay? So that is where we're at with that. In terms of money, the good news is of having all this work to make up is that if we plan it correctly, we are going to make a lot of money this weekend. Okay? If we follow this thing to a T, we work 10 hours on Saturday and we work 4 hours on Sunday, then that means ideally we should end up making $280, right? Which is a lot. That's a lot of money. Okay, so let's make $280 this weekend. Let's get her done, okay? Let me see. Control over urges. It definitely it was a harder day. It was a hard day. It was definitely one of the harder days out of my current streak. By the way, officially 3 weeks. Let's freaking go. It was definitely one of the harder days. However, it was definitely easy compared to yesterday. Yesterday was just insane, and that was definitely a thing of like the devil was pushing way too hard yesterday. It's like, okay, little bro, like, calm down. You're not gonna get me that freaking easy, okay? So it was really a thing of, yes, it was hard. However, yesterday was harder, and therefore I feel more strength in order to conquer this day. And so that's really what it felt like. And in terms of connections, let me see. I think there are some people, like I said, I thought we're gonna be friends. They're gonna be more like acquaintances. Which I mean, acquaintances still aren't bad. The fact that I know these people are great. However, I think I want to start, if I'm going in this direction where I'm just having acquaintances, I want to be acquainted with a mass amount of people. Because yes, although I think it's more valuable to have 5 nickels over 24 pennies, or just even a better analogy, to have 5 quarters over 124 pennies. Having 124 pennies is still pretty useful when those pennies can eventually get you to having quarters, right? So I really think that I want to build just more connections. I want to meet more people. I want to get connected with more people so that way I have more options available to me. I think that's just naturally how it works. That, and also in terms of my music, I think music, that would be great. And I know with the club that we are starting, I'm super excited to get some connections in there. So that's that for all of these. In terms of my actual classes, let's see. So 1 p.m. we've got the midterm on Wednesday, and so I know that's definitely a big study point. However, he hasn't uploaded like the most recent homework, and I am definitely waiting for that. Primarily just because it's an important one. It's a thing where I'm absolutely wanting to get that done if he actually uploads it this weekend by Sunday, because this I don't understand the current concepts or what he was teaching across the last week. I really don't understand. And I know that it is going to be on the test. So I really just hope that he uploads some sort of homework, because he was supposed to upload a homework today. I'm not quite sure what happened. But like I said, he's just elderly. He's an elderly guy, and it happens, So I'm just hoping he uploads it, and if not, I'm gonna check with him on Monday of, hey, like, is there a homework this week, and can you upload it? Because I am in desperate. I'm not gonna say this part, but I am in desperate need of some practice. And so we'll go from there. For the unplanned pregnancy, we've got the quiz done today. Clap it up. In terms of the lab, for this class, we got to get that done by Monday, and therefore that is probably another thing that I plan on finishing this weekend. So there you go, that's one more. Linear algebra, we were able to successfully get that done, and therefore the clock has reset on that one all the way until next Friday. And so, I plan on looking at linear algebra a little more, because after this week that is coming up, then the following week I'm going to have my linear algebra midterm, the first one. So I plan on prioritizing it later. However, we have time. We have time to think about that. Okay. In terms of let me see, we are chilling in terms of that class. The next things aren't due until Tuesday. However, with this class, I plan on getting both readings done, and also the homework, because technically there's one due on Tuesday and one due on Thursday. But I don't want to wait in between, because it just gets a little frisky with those things, and I don't really like grouping things like way too late until the last minute. So I gotta stop that. It's definitely a bad habit, and I'm realizing that I just put that under the wrong thing. So I'm gonna erase it, and I'm gonna put it under the correct thing. So yeah, there we go. On Tuesday, we plan to have the 2 readings and then also the homework done. In terms of the cool unk, like I said, the clock has officially reset over to Thursday. So like I said, we're chilling, and the midterm isn't for a little bit of a hot minute. That doesn't mean we should underestimate it, and I think we should definitely go through some problems from the previous homeworks, especially since if you guys watched yesterday's video, I had to end up skipping my first lecture for that class and for this entire semester because of the let me see homework that I wasn't aware of was due right before the class instead of at midnight. So that is a big lesson for those two for me, is that this needs to get done before Tuesday, and this needs to get done, or we need to study up on this and don't miss lectures, right? Let me see. And then in terms of the lab, let me see. What is it? I'll write the homework and then for both of these, because that's what they are, and we got to keep it consistent. For the lab report, obviously, there's one due by Wednesday. I just got to do my part. My lab report partner will do his part, and then we'll be chill. But I plan on getting that done before Wednesday, obviously, because we have that 1 p.m. midterm on Wednesday. I think that's it. I think I've just ran out of things to talk about. So, yeah, what did we learn from today? We learned, like I said, it's been a consistent theme. Cut people out of your life. Don't have any place in it, okay? Doesn't matter how long you've been friends with them. It doesn't matter how well you know them. It doesn't matter any of that, right? None of that matters. If they don't align with you in things that you consider important, you have to cut them off. You have to, okay? And don't make sure it's not just one event that tips you over the edge, right? Like I said, all the people that I've cut off have followed one specific pattern. They've kept swallowing and deep throating the bullshit, and this was just the last amount of bullshit that I needed to prove, okay, you have no place in my life and you are going to contribute nothing productive to my life. That's it. I know that's harsh, but that's it, simply put. Number one, okay? Number two, sometimes in life you will find yourself in some massive deficits, but know that through God, anything is possible. I can't remember which verse that is in the Bible, but that is a verse, okay? Through God, anything is possible. And regardless, you are able to make yourself out of any deficit. If you believe hard enough and if you try hard enough, and that's what I'm going to prove with this weekend. Just watch in 2 days. You're going to be impressed, okay? In the next 2 days, I am able to prove that I can come back from a situation, okay? So let's try and come back from it. That's what I'm going to say for number two. And then for number three, we are going to say, we're going to say that thing, okay. I actually want to add on to that point, right? To turn that, in terms of the turning around point. Again, like I said with the 1 p.m., in the matter of 2 weeks, I was able to go from looking like an absolute fool in front of the class, not knowing that a quiz was going to happen, to being the first one to get a quiz done. Okay, that is a massive jump, right? It is pretty similar to the current season I'm watching of Big Brother Season 4, where there's one guy named G. He's my favorite person in the house by far. Sadly, he's getting a lot of hate right now, but it's whatever. Basically, who he was for the first week, he was put up on the nomination block, which basically means that he was at risk of getting eliminated from the competition the first week. And then the very next week, he gains immunity. He wins a thing called the head of household, right? Things flip, and things can flip very quickly if you believe hard enough in yourself. So believe. Just believe in yourself, okay, because it's important. Let's see, and then number three, we are going to go with the fact that, let me see, I believe it was in a show called BoJack Horseman or something like that. But there's this really great scene and a really great quote that I remember where BoJack Horseman, I think that's what his name or whatever it is, this basically this horse, it's like an animated show, I think it's like Adult Swim or whatever it is. Basically he's running a marathon and he's getting tired, right? And so then he ends up laying on the ground. He's like, I'm just exhausted, like, and I can't get up, right? And then this one like kind of baboon kind of character just goes over him and he's like, it gets easier. And the horse is like, huh? Every day it gets a little easier, but you got to do it every day. That's the hard part. What a quote, man. What a quote. So just to reiterate, every day it gets a little easier, but you got to do it every day. That's the hard part, right? For 21 days, I have been able to maintain my streak. And yes, while some days have been hard, I am able to conquer the hard days because I have already endured the hard days. I know what it's like to endure those days where I feel like giving into temptation. I've endured those days where I feel like, I can skip one chapter. I can skip reading the Bible, right? I've felt those days where I can be like, oh, I can skip this. Okay, I can skip a good night of sleep, right? But the thing is that every single time that you try and every single time that you are successful, the easier it is to do it the next time, right? Try every day. That's all you need to do. Try every day, because every time you try, the next day, when it's time to try, there's going to come a point where you don't even have to try in order to do what you want. You're just going to be able to do it. That's just it. There's a certain point where you stop trying and things just become second nature. But in order to get there, you have to try every single day. That's the hard part. That's all I got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Cut.